Alright, part 2. So I don't even know how I want to call this video. How do we call this video? Baby dog? Baby dog taking a shower. No, but I'm not showing how the baby dog took a shower, so I can't call it that. How do I call the video? I'm gonna call the video Holistic Living. That's what I'm gonna call the video. I hope I remember that one once I get to the other house. I almost said the city name. I'm glad I didn't. Okay, but yeah, it's the way you do everything is holistic. Okay, diatomaceous earth, massage into the coat of the dog, and also sprinkled on the rug, and you can sweep that around with a rug sweeper. I use a rug sweeper for the rug that doesn't use electricity. It's green living. I try to do as much green living as I can. You see, the baby dog likes to play with cardboard boxes and sticks. Those are the best toys for him, actually. I still have to clean this up today because David, I almost said the last name. David is coming over tomorrow to look at the house. So, and you see, I have these ladder stands in the back. Those are real practical. They are very versatile. Ladder stands, they fold up into like a ladder that is horizontal on the top there, and that has these horizontal spokes in there, and I hang my laundry up on it. Heavy laundry, and it doesn't matter where they are. You don't need any kind of fence post for it. You just set them up anywhere in the house or greenhouse, and then you can hang up your laundry. You can also put, as you can see, I have, when I wash decorative pillows, I just lay them on the top. Okay, you don't need clothespins for this at all. You can just hang everything and lay everything perfectly over and it stays on it. And it dries the stuff really good. In 2 days, cotton is dry in the summertime. In the wintertime, takes like 3, maybe even 4 days because it's colder, and then we have a higher air moisture concentration. So, but we're gonna take these 3 things with us to the other house once we're getting completely moved out. And I'm gonna put those into a larger outdoor greenhouse that we're still gonna be setting up, which is, of course, making the garden much more condensed, and it's not perfect. Baby dog doesn't have enough space in the garden there, but that's why we're buying a large property. But in order to buy the large property, we have to sell this property first. We don't have the funds to buy the large property right now. So we already know which one we want, but we can't afford it right now. So we're going to have to be living through some kind of bottleneck situation with this. We're going to be living in the other smaller house with the smaller yard. I'm gonna have to put up with that for, I don't know, maybe a year. It's not gonna be easy, but Paul is gonna take the baby dog to the cemetery every day, and he's gonna teach him how to run without the leash on, and he's gonna play fetch with him there to exercise him so that he has some areas to run there. There is a very large field next to the cemetery that has also been mowed, which is really perfect, but there are no grave spots yet on there, and that's still like a wild meadow, and that's perfect for the baby dog to run and play fetch. And so that's how he's gonna get his exercise. But in the meantime, we're gonna have to live in the smaller house. Sometimes in life, you have to weigh things off, and you have to figure out, how do I manage? How do I set something up in order to get from one place to another, in order to move forward with your life? Sometimes you have to make some very heavy decisions in order to move forward, in order to make things work, in order to be ethical for every living being, okay? And sometimes it's hard work, or I would say probably always, but it pays off, and it's not hard work that is tedious. There are different types of work, I could never work in a factory. One time when I was after my high school, I had different jobs, and just to see what it's like also. And I didn't stay there very long, I think 3 weeks in this one place where we're putting price tags on merchandise. I mean, that was such a toxic environment there. The people were toxic, the manager was toxic. It was absolutely inhospitable work environment, and no wonder why that manager already had 3 heart attacks, and he was making other people's lives miserable. And so, but there were 2 women that were very, very sweet and nice, but most other people were kind of I don't know. They didn't say anything about this. They just accepted all of this. And that's what the problem is with the world. Most people just accept any kind of situation, no matter how bad it feels. They think this is normal. They think they're supposed to do this. No, you need to question this. So when I left a note for that one lady I was working with, and I said to her, you need to quit this job. This is not good for you. It's not good for your health. You can do something better with your health. You need to. I think her name was Gardener, and I said, you need to become a gardener instead. Yeah. So yeah, that's what. So if you become a gardener, even if you work for someone else, it is a holistic job, as long as you do your gardening in a holistic way, as long as you don't use pesticides or chemical fertilizers, or do large scale agriculture with tractors and stuff like this that is so detached from the land and from the soil and all of this, that's borders on exploitation, and don't work in an environment where things are being exploited, where things are not being down to earth. What I mean with down to earth, I mean that in a literal way. Down to earth in a very literal, biological way. We have to learn about the food we eat. We have to learn about the soil. We have to learn about the insects and the invertebrates, the nematodes. Those are amazing beings. Okay, they're not scary at all. They are, as Paul Watson said, the earth needs earthworms way more than the earth needs humans. Okay, this is a fact. Okay, this is not some kind of speciesist against humans or something. It is a biological fact. Okay, the earth does not need one of any of the primates or the larger animals. I mean, if the earth will do without any of the larger animals, but actually the human is the least useful for this planet. The human is not just the least useful for this planet. I'm sorry, I have to say the facts here. Let's look at it. Let's really inspect this. The human is a dangerous animal for this planet. And you can clearly see it because of pollution, because of greed. Greed-based people don't look at what their processes do to other living beings, to their own fellow humans, or to their animals, or to the wild animals, or to the plants, or the food plants even, that they eat themselves. They don't look at it. They are very, very tunnel vision, with blinders on. They look only towards greed. They don't see the whole picture. They don't want to see the whole picture. And that's dangerous. Okay. That's why we have sewage systems. So when the dung is not being decomposed into fertile earth soil and brought back to the land, then we have complete soil depletion. And we have food plants that are empty and don't have the right amount of minerals and nutrients and vitamins in them because of this. So, and this has been going on for 100 years or over 100 years already. Rudolf Steiner warned people about this. They didn't listen to him. Only a handful of people listened to him. Okay. And then he has a bunch of followers that they call themselves anthroposophists. I went to a school from the anthroposophists, and I love Rudolf Steiner. I am not on board with the anthroposophists. Okay, it has become another religion. That's not in the sense of Rudolf Steiner. He doesn't want people to be followers. He even criticized that during his lifetime. He made fun of people sometimes. He would say, one time he said to a friend, they were hiking and he kind of hurt his ankle and he was limping, and he said, I better straighten up and not be limping when I come back into town, because then the next day the whole town is going to be limping. And the reason why I said that is because people were just blindly following him. No matter what he was doing, they would be doing what he's doing without thinking about it, without quizzing, without questioning, without asking a whole lot of questions. Why do you do this? And tell me more about it. What is this about? Okay, what is the philosophy behind it? What is the biology behind it? Okay. And he's happy to explain all of this, but most people didn't even listen. They just took this as a religion and run off with it, And that's ego-based, and that's very intellectually lazy, and that's not responsible to live like this. When you have someone who has a lot to say, like Rudolf Steiner, you need to listen to people. Listen to someone with, I have air bubbles, someone with passion and with a lot of information that is very useful. Listen to people like this, okay? So it's very important to listen to people. Listen more instead of running off with whatever society's standards of whatever, like society that tells people that you're not supposed to do this or that, or shame people for burping or farting, and then be fully ashamed and have to try to suppress your burps and farts. I mean, I'm trying to suppress that, right? But I mean, why do we sometimes we burp and we fart, okay? So we do all kinds of things. We have sexual urges and all of these things, we poop, okay? We pee, we sweat, we do all kinds of things. We take showers, we're living beings, biological beings. Okay, why should we be ashamed about our biological needs, our biological urges? Why should we be ashamed about this? Why is all of this always concealed? Why is bowel movement subject always pushed under the rug? Yeah? Why is that? Dr. Richard Schultz talked about this already, how, we have to eliminate our intestines, okay, in order to be healthy. But if people eat animal sludge and drink alcohol, that's not healthy. That's not gonna make anyone eliminate properly, or the kind of health problems that cascade out of that are like infinite amount of health problems. Any kind of neurological damage problems, stuff that people take for granted as some kind of, this is a biological illness, or this is just something this person has, or runs in the family. No, okay. All of these, including type 2 diabetes, including neurological problems, including brain problems, including all kinds of things, bowel problems, anything, liver problems. All of this is a result of unhealthy living. Okay, that's a result of soil depletion. The C word, it's a result of soil depletion and pesticide use. Okay, we need to become completely clear about this. And also energy use, hang your stuff up every day. Don't use the dryer. If possible, don't use the dryer. So, but again, I just wanted to get into the composting one more time, because whoever we talk to, most people, I wouldn't even touch on that subject, because people wouldn't even understand it. So, and then it's even, I don't know if it's even going against the city ordinance codes and whatever they have. They're the most detrimental city ordinance codes in place there are. There are areas where they don't even allow you to build the house the way you want to build. They don't even allow you to put a geodesic dome or live in a greenhouse, something like this. Or super modern geodesic dome structures. We do it the conservative way here. Like areas like that. That's just so incredibly backwards. That's just completely wrong. Okay. So, all kinds of city codes where they don't let you use your own, they don't even let you drill a well, or they want you to pay, because they want you to pay for the city water that's chlorinated. And just the list goes on and on and on and on. It's corruption that has infiltrated into our infrastructure. The infrastructure itself is totally corrupted to begin with, unhealthy. Okay, all of this needs to be reformed. Okay, it needs to be stopped instantly if we want to make the world a better place. But even if it's not stopped, one person who understands it, gets it, has to. I have to do this. It was quite a big deal to transition from flush toilets to composting. We made a lot of mistakes in that phasing over process from the convenient flush toilets, but it helped a little bit that these flush toilets are kind of like from the 80s, and they are extremely loud. So they are too loud for my Asperger's nervous system. That's like a bomb going off every time I flush the toilet. It's like No, I finally decided, but that was not the pivotal moment. That just helped towards the composting. The pivotal moment for me was when I I signed up I won through some kind of, I don't know, I won some kind of on the internet, like subscription to magazines. And they had a list of magazines there that you could choose from, like fashion magazines or gardening magazine. And they had one, a nature environmental magazine. I was surprised they had that, called the Ode magazine. And so I signed up for that. I got that for free. I got 12 Ode magazines sent to me in actual paper form. And I was so glad, because in one of the Ode magazines there was the article of the lifetime in it, written by one very, very dedicated environmentalist down there near San Francisco. Those people are very, very advanced, some of those people out there in Petaluma, San Jose, and San Francisco area. Very, very advanced people there. That people that are more in the outskirts, that have a couple of acres, and this guy didn't. This guy only had, like, I don't know, had like 2 or 3 acres only, and he was doing biodynamic agriculture on a very limited space. And he also talked about how you can utilize actually very limited space for growing plants. So if you do it in a smart way, if you do as much permaculture as possible. Permaculture means permanent. That means food plants or any kind of plant that is very adapted to that environment, that does not need a lot of caregiving, a lot of looking after. So they're basically native and natural, and you can do a mixed culture of different food plants that keep each other in a biodiversity in regards to insects and pollinators, and also pest insects that may do an invasion sometimes. That may happen, but if you also have different plants, then that will attract different insects, and those other insects then will be taking care of the pest insects better. So if you have a monoculture, for example, if you grow only one particular crop, one particular food plant, then that is way more susceptible to an insect invasion than if you have a mixed culture. All of these things seem to be not taught in agriculture when people go to university. Why are these things not taught? These are the fundamentals of agriculture, actually. But this guy understood what he was doing, and he talked about the utmost importance of composting toilets and bringing the dung, letting the dung decompose in barrels or certain dedicated spaces, outdoor spaces. Actually, my grandfather's gardener had a particular cemented area where they were composting kitchen dung, at least, So that was good. And then he was growing very large pumpkins on there, and so utilizing it in a good way, already that's a start. That's a start in the right direction. But then, I don't know, later on I saw they did a bunch of things wrong as well. The gardener started to use chemical fertilizers, and that's not good at all. And they killed moles, underground animals, and that's completely wrong. Don't kill any living being. If there are moles, then you can get some cats, and you just get a biodiversity, so that the biodiversity takes care of itself. There are cruel factors in that with cats, of course, but that's still a natural process. So that's better than like using snap traps where they kill a mole, and then the mole is pregnant, or the mole has babies somewhere, or whatever. So that's not the right thing to do. And I'm against killing any animal. So use a natural system for that. Use natural predators for that. Okay, Jack Russell Terriers, they catch rats, and they're very effective for that. There are people that do that professionally, that come to farms with their 10 Jack Russell Terriers. They go to work, and in 1 hour they have brought over 50 rats and lay them in front of their feet. So, and they kill them fast, not like cats do. The Jack Russell Terriers will kill them in one bite, basically, and that's much more humane. I mean, I don't like the word humane. That's much more unhumane. That's much more ethical. But whatever animals are out there who will take care of each other in a balanced system, that's better than human interception in any kind of brutal way or poisonous way. So that's very, very important. So this guy, I learned so much from that guy, from that writer in the Order magazine article. You have no idea. It's completely changed my life. It made complete sense. That was the most interesting article I've ever read. That is the most interesting and most life-changing article in the whole world. So I don't know why this is not taught in universities. But for me, they completely changed our life. So we decided that's what we have to do, because we care. We care about our life. We care about a harmonious, healthy, holistic ecosystem. And that's what we created here on this property, and also on the other property. And we will in the future on the very large property. And we are even aiming towards getting a solar farm. Setting up a solar farm with Elon Musk. He has solar farm equipment, I think, or he's associated with that or set that up for someone else. I think his brother is doing this actually. So we can contact them, we can get solar farm, I don't know how much that will cost. We have to think about this, we have to discuss that with them. But once we have a really large property out there in the desert where there's a lot of sun, we're gonna do that for sure. So that is an investment for the planet and for us as well. And then we can supply the entire area there with electricity. And that's electricity that's totally safe and green and clean. And that's the only way. Those are the only ways to move forward with our lives, okay? The only way to move forward in the right direction. And I also wanted to talk about the inwardness process for a couple of more minutes. I also have a lot of work to do here today, but I have so many thoughts in my head that I want to share with people, because I think this is very, very vitally important for me to share how I live and how I think and what I believe in, my philosophy, my psychology, my future vision. Okay, how we make this whole world better, how we can make your life better. Okay, you think you can't turn your life around if you are whatever, if you're an alcoholic, or if you're very religious, or if you think you're dependent on this or that society or this or that social group or your family or whatever, and you think you have to do as the Romans when you're in Rome. And you think you can't snap out of it. You think you can't break out of it. But you can if you start thinking about all of this. If you start questioning all of this. If you weigh these things off in your head. If you think about it very, very much in depth. Okay, how is this lifestyle going to make your life better versus the other lifestyle? Okay, think about this. Think about, that's what Tony Robbins always said. Think about your life in 10 years from now. Okay, how is your life in 10 years from now if you do nothing, if you just continue to dabble along the way you have already for several decades? Okay, so you dabble along with that. Then where will you be in 10 years from now? Okay, you will have diabetes. You have, I don't even want to say it. The C word. This is reality. Okay. So you will be lonely. You're whatever. I don't even want to say these horrible things because I don't want to be painting a negative picture. But you have to think about this. You have to weigh these things off. Where are you going to be in 10 years from now? Maybe dead? Okay. So maybe that's what you want. But maybe that's not exactly the way you want to go. So I don't want to go like this. I don't want to go suffering to death. I don't want to be a pushover from society, from the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, the pharmaceutical industry is a mafia. Don't believe him. Don't fall prey to that. Okay? That's not holistic. That hurts the liver. That hurts people's systems. Okay, I keep struggling with Paul. He keeps taking this metformin. That's not good for him. It's not good for his liver. I'm very worried about this. Sometimes he takes in even harsher stuff that he has. I forgot the name now. Well, I don't even want to know the names of those terrible, horrible things. Okay. Those are not holistic. Those are not whole substances. Those are chemically processed, chemically altered. They're chemically created in laboratories, then tested on animals. That's not how we make the world a better place. We make the world heal. If you make the world heal, you heal. Your system heals. Okay. So very, very important. And psychology plays into this as well. But yeah, just wanted to, it's very important that we do all of these steps in the right direction, in the right process, that we don't skip steps. Very, very important. Because if you skipped steps in the holistic healing process, you will make mistakes and then you will say, see, it doesn't work. Because your ego wants to think it doesn't work, because your ego is lazy and your ego is in denial and wants to be liked and wants to belong to this or that group or whatever. And then you say, oh no, that'll be your perfect excuse then to not follow through with this. So now you have to be absolutely radically honest with yourself. You have to introspect, you have to look at yourself, you have to look at your own excuses, you have to look at your ego, your own laziness, your greed, and so on. Your dependency on other people's opinions. Look at that critically, okay? Question it, and my everything is that. Oh, he's feeling better now. Yes, and introspect and weigh it off. Is this lifestyle not better than the one you're living right now? So. Yes, the other lifestyle is better. The alternative lifestyle is better for you. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. So there are so many things that everything can be made holistic. Everything on the whole spectrum of living. However, whatever we do, our entire life, our social life, our sexual life, there are women out there, they have completely lost touch with their own bodies because they have, and they're not even, doesn't even feel very sexual to them, but they think it's sexual. There are women out there that let men beat them, and they think it's sexual. They think they're supposed to. They think it's sexual. They think it's some sort of like it's their tradition or something. Or they think it's like that's their religion, or they think the woman needs to be taking beatings, or the woman needs to be submissive, and that somehow they equate this with sexuality, and it's not. This is not sexual. It doesn't feel sexual, not even to the masochist. But they do it because of their ego, because they want to be liked, because they're pushovers, and so on. And that's why so many women will go on along with Islam, okay? And that's dangerous for this planet. That is absolutely, absolutely life-threatening dangerous for you and for the whole planet and for the animals. Islam is don't put that there. Don't put it there. That's dirty. You have to wash it. That has to be that's clean. That one is clean. You have to wash that no, that one is I'm still using that one. Yes, I'm using it. Okay, so I also don't want to wash stuff all the time. Like, for example, this jacket here, I use this jacket for over a week. That's an outer garment. So, or my winter pants that I wear on top of the other. So, in order to keep warm, in order to not use the heater at night. So, don't sit there in shorts and then turn the heater on. So, all of this plays into it. And be good to yourself. Be good to your body. Don't let someone abuse you. Don't go along with an abusive, toxic, neurological, social development like Islam. With a toxic, extremely broken and sick religion that is hurting you and other beings. Don't go along with it. Question it. Look at it. Look at it. How are you gonna be in 10 years from now? Dead or beaten up with broken ribs in a hospital, bandaged up because your psychopathic Muslim boyfriend has almost killed you, which is worse than totally killed you, because then you're suffering. Okay. So think about this. Think about all of this. How we address euthanasia. How we address hospital ethics. All of this plays into this entire spectrum of holistic healing. Euthanasia is good. It is a good way to go. It's mercy. It's helping people that are in their end stages. Okay. Why do so many people go against it? Because of ego and religion. Because of their social group that they want to belong to, that they want to be accepted by, and so on. Because it's grooved in their brain. It's a habit. It's habituated. They're intellectually lazy. They don't want to inspect it. They don't want to question it. They don't want to break out of it. They don't want to reform because it's inconvenient for them. Okay, but that is what makes the world suffer. Okay, on a full circle spectrum. Within any subject this is happening. Okay, and that's why I talk about this kind of stuff, because it is so vitally important. I wake up in the morning or at noon because I sleep long, because my body needs a lot of sleep, and so does your body. And if you drink alcohol, you don't have good sleep. You don't have good sleep patterns for your brain. Alcohol prevents that. Drugs prevent that. Quit all of that. Go on the holistic path. Your body will thank you for that. Your body will thank me for giving you this good advice. Okay, so we can make the world a better place. But again, there are so many people that misunderstand composting. They think that has to do with raw sewage. No, it doesn't. Okay. The composting has to go through a very meticulous natural decomposing process. And that takes a long time. If you have holes in the lid and water gets in from the rain, it's faster. So if you have holes in the lid, or if you irrigate it every day, and it's full, and you have it set to the side in the garden where it's there to go through the composting process, then you can give it like probably 2 months, and it will be completely decomposed by the earthworms and other living beings. And then you can turn it over, you empty it, and fresh earth soil comes out of it. And that's how you grow your food plants. And there are no minerals lost, there are no nutrients lost, there are no vitamins lost. Everything in it, packed with nutritious stuff. That will go into the food plant then. The food plant will pick that up from the roots with the liquid, with the water. Okay, nutrient-rich water from that earth soil, nutrient-rich earth soil. Okay, very important, and it's fresh, completely fresh. Okay, so the raw sewage, the raw dung from dog, human, kitchen compost, whatever is biologically degradable, biodegradable, decomposable stuff. Okay, only good stuff. Don't put chemicals in it ever. Then it is very, very easy. You have the one that you use. Once it's full, you set it to the side, you let that cure. Okay, and you irrigate it, and in about 2 months that will be completely decomposed and transformed from the raw sewage into healthy, good smelling, very fresh smelling earth soil. People, I can't emphasize this enough. People don't seem to understand how this works. And it has to be done in the right way, of course. You have to pay attention to this. It has to be organized and ordered in a specific section of your garden. And you have to keep track which ones are decomposed. You have to have them in the right order, so that, let's say you have 10 or 20 of those barrels, you have them lined up, and then you empty the last one that hadn't been emptied in 2 or 3 months. You turn it over, and there are earthworms in that, really large ones. Paul is always amazed. And it smells really, really fresh and good. And then you can take like those comb type of rakes, and you can, or kind of like comb type of rakes are very, very good for that, to rake that into an even bed and have that there available to put into a pot to use as your own potting soil, or to be distributing that again into your garden, loosely distributing that and filling in any kind of potholes with that, or loosely putting it over the lawn. That very much help the lawn. And this is, I think, so once we have the large property, I think I will make a whole series of videos just with that subject alone, because there's so much information that goes into this, to do that in the right way. I mean, it's like that should be implemented into agriculture at the universities, this type of living, because we are not a separate entity from all of this. We are an integrated part of this. Okay, our life cycle is an integrated part in this, so that we have a healthy ecosystem, we have healthy food plants, that give us the nutrients that we need. It has to be done in the right order, of course. So once you empty it, you can use the last one again for the current one to be putting all the compost material into it. And then you put that at the end. And then you use the next one in line. And you go through that as a cycle. Okay? And that has no smell at all. So what we do is, when we have some dung in the raw sewage bin that we are currently using, then all we have to do is fill half of a 5-gallon bucket with already decomposed stuff and dump that on top of the raw sewage inside of the current raw sewage bin. And then you irrigate, you put the lid on. It has no smell at all. So, and that's outside. So now on the inside of the house or in the greenhouse, it's all very, very straightforward and simple how it goes. It has no smells at all. Okay, and the way it's done is you can use kitchen compost for that, but some people, when they're traveling, they do this. When they use composting toilet. But when you have a large garden and you mow the grass with the lawnmower, then you have a lot of grass clippings. You have like 10 or 20 5-gallon buckets full of lawn grass clippings that smell absolutely fantastic. And I use these really fresh grass clippings to sterilize the buckets. First, you take the bucket outside, you empty it in the current sewage bin. So then you rinse it 2 times with a shower nozzle outside. You empty the water again into the outdoor sewage bin, and then you have your 5-gallon bucket that you bring back into the house that is rinsed. But in order to sterilize it, you use a big handful of fresh grass clippings and you wipe the rim with it. And you take another one, you do it again. Once you do that 2 times, the bucket is completely sterilized. Because the grass clippings they actually sterilize stuff. You can make tea with it and it heals you. They have, at Eden Botanicals, they have a perfume oil, a natural essential oil called Hay Absolute. They take any kind of mowed stuff, hay and grass and stuff, and they put that into, like I talked about this before in my other videos, you can make absolute oils with that. You dry that hay, you put it into a carrier oil and the carrier oil infuses that itself with the oils from the hay, and then they do that several times. That's the old-fashioned way of making essential oils and essential perfume oils, natural, and it smells heavenly, and it is very healing, wound healing. It is deodorizing. Makes the body smooth, good for foot balms, good for all kinds of things, good for hair masks to repair your hair, just incredible. So grass clippings or hay or straw or whatever materials that comes from the garden that is being clipped or mowed is highly antibacterial and healing. So you can use it to clean things with different things, even clean the floor with it. So you clean the buckets with that, you put that on the bottom of the bucket, you put more, you wipe the inside of the bucket with that to make it really clean and smelling good. Then you have about half a bucket full of loose clippings in the current bucket, and then you put the green commode on top of the bucket, which is just a metal stand, with the toilet lid. They use those for hospitals, so they don't even sell those as composting toilets, but you can buy it. They're not very expensive, $30 or $40 for one, It stands on extendable legs, very strong aluminum frame with the toilet frame, the toilet seat frame, and the toilet lid that you can even close. So, and you just stand it on top over the bucket. And I have it extended high because it's more comfortable. So I have the bucket actually stand on a little pedestal, and then I arrange it in a way where there's just a little gap underneath that the toilet seat, between the toilet seat and the bucket, so that the toilet seat doesn't scrape against the bucket. So, but the bucket is underneath, set firmly, and then you have this whatever geriatric hospital toilet commode, on top of it, and those are very easy to clean, super easy to clean with a wet towel, or you can also take it outside and you can wash it with clay and rinse it with water. Perfect. Doesn't even need a whole bunch of that doesn't even need any kind of like kitchen harsh chemical soaps, detergents, or any of that. No, it doesn't need any of that. So you can actually live just with clays alone. You don't even need any kind of detergent. That's my future vision. So once we live in the greenhouse, I don't even want to use any kind of detergent. That is unnatural. So I want to make my own ivy soap, for example. That ivy soap, it's a lot more energy and work labor included, okay? But it's absolutely worth it, and that's good labor. It's good work to do. Absolutely good work. So healthy work. So that's the way the old-fashioned farmers used to live. They used to live totally, the pagan farmers in Europe lived in this totally in tune. They were scientists. They were writing things down. They were like the witches. They were scientists. They wrote everything down. They learned things from nature. They wrote it down. They made drawings of the different plants, of different fungi, and so on, and different seasons, and they knew all about the pest insects and what needed to be done about that. The Romans came, they invaded Europe. They may not have been completely informed, but they were vastly informed. The Romans came and they destroyed their books. They destroyed their religion. They forced them to convert to their Catholic religion. And these kind of things are happening, and they have been happening globally in history. These kind of, where there were civilizations popping up that were already starting to become very advanced, and then another very destructive and unadvanced civilization would run them fully over and take over and destroy all of their information. So we need to be informed about all of this. Be informed. Let's not make the same mistakes again. Okay, let's learn from the pagan farmers. Let's learn. They weren't perfect either, or they did some things unethical. We need to question things. Take the good, don't take the bad with it. So learn from them and make it better. That's also what Rudolf Steiner said. Whatever he taught, he wants you to learn from it, and he wants you to grow it, to make it better, make it work even better than it was before. Just keep on improving all of this. This is a permanent learning experience. We are learning, but let's get on the learning path, first of all. Let's not be totally off the learning path, which most people are. Let's get on the learning path. Very, very important. Then you have a completely clean lifestyle. And just wanted to mention, because I woke up with this, and yesterday I've been thinking about this. It's very, very important that we also apply this holistic lifestyle, this alternative route to how we handle our own emotions. Okay. So there are two people I learned from, but they have very separate, very different approaches. And some people even say these approaches contradict each other, or they stand against each other, or we adhere to this, we can't adhere to this one. One of this group will say about the other. But both approaches are very valid, and they can be used, and they can be used supplementary and in harmony with each other. But both approaches have some points in it that are not, like if we use just this one approach, like let's say we just use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, top down, Tony Robbins approach. If we only use that, and if we only try to go after this like with the rational mind, then we're missing out on some very, very elemental parts of the spectrum. If we only use Dr. Arthur Janoff's approach, primal therapy, which is an introspection process, if we only use that approach, then I have already seen what it does to other people and to myself. So we end up a nervous wreck. We don't use the rational approach. We psychoanalyze everything. We overthink everything. Everything becomes a problem. We have to cry all the time. We don't think about anything, how to manage our life. These people don't manage their lives, and then they go to the center and unload their shit there after they have not managed their lives. And a lot of people died. This is awful, horrific. Because they thought they can just go to the center and cry it out, but that's only half of the equation. Of course, if someone goes to the center and they're a heavy chain smoker, alcoholic, or drug addict, and there was one guy who was a heroin addict, Len, and he goes there and he thinks he can cry it out, and he was very good at that. He was really going into the feelings and all of that. But he goes back home, and he goes back and prescribes his own drugs, which I've seen him do every time I went to the pharmacy, he was there. It's like, oops, that's not a coincidence. That guy's there like all the time, prescribing his own drug. And then he went over to heroin in the end. And a friend of mine from Germany actually found him in LA. She was living with him in Mar Vista. She found him in his room dead. What a horror. And, I mean, obviously, if he cries it out, he goes back home, he continues with the drugs, nothing is accomplished, obviously. So you have to use both approaches. You have to use the rational approach as well, and you have to use those two approaches in harmony with each other. You have to be very, very rational, very reasonable. You have to use reason. You have to be organized, rational in an organized sense. You have to say, okay, so this is what happens if I do this. This is what happens if I do this. How do we organize everything step by step by step by step? How do I phase over from whatever? If I'm addicted to chocolate, how do I phase over to eating only healthy food? Okay, or whatever people are on. Okay. They're intermittent steps that help you get from one point to another, okay? You can't for most people, it's impossible to just quit something and then just have everything else the same. That's not going to work. Or see the same people, or that's not going to work. You have to really understand if you're quitting, like my brother, for example, he's in the process of quitting smoking, I'm so happy to see this. So he knows that he can't just quit. He has to, in order to make this work, he has to be inhaling from a vape pipe. He has a vape pipe. And I guess he's at this phase now where there's no nicotine in it at all. Just water. Just simply water and nothing else. and uses his vape pipe, and I have no problem seeing that in the video when I talk to him. I don't have any problem seeing the vape pipe. That's perfectly fine with me. So I have a problem seeing someone have a glowing rod in their hand. That I have a problem with. There, when he used to have the glowing rod, he would turn the video off on his end and just have sound. and I knew, oh, he turned the video off. I know there's the glowing rod somewhere between his fingers. And I tried everything to help him with this, but he was in resistance for a very long time. But I told him about the vapes and all of that, but he finally did it. He finally knew he had to. He could not just quit and then see the same people and the same lifestyle and so. No, he had to. This is a transitioning process. He has to take a vape pipe. Maybe in the beginning, the vape pipe may have tobacco tea in it or something. So, but I don't recommend nicotine. If at all, then make a tea with tobacco that you can buy. You can grow or find in the wild tobacco. Those are beautiful flowers. Okay, purple flowers. They smell good and everything. They're very mild, but you can make tea with it. And they have a fairly high concentration of nicotine, but in a holistic form. And then you can put that into your vape. You can smoke that in the beginning. Towards the end, after a month of smoking that, you just put water in it and you inhale that only. I mean, not smoking, inhaling vapor, always. And throw the cigarettes away in the trash can, very important. Okay? And, I mean, everything has to be done in this way, everything. Okay, this is a step in the right direction, psychologically too. Okay, so neurologically, this is psychology in there, this is neurology, this is biology in the brain. You don't want to clog your brain up with nicotine or some substances that are very, very sticky or something. That can cause brain damage, can cause neurological damage to people. But our body and brain has much, much flexibility and plasticity and ability to heal and reform itself back to health. Okay, you have that at any stage in life. It just becomes more difficult the older people get, but it's never too late. Never, never, never. So, very important. That's also what Dr. Scholl said when he had a clinic, when he had a holistic healing clinic in LA, and when people were coming to him and they were still smoking, he said, you have to quit smoking. I don't care how you do it, but you have to be smoke-free for a year before you come to my clinic. So the clinic is already like a much more advanced stage on this spectrum of holistic healing. This is much more advanced step level. Okay, so they can't go there while they're still smoking or drinking or taking drugs. That's not going to work. When you have a garage full of dirty, rotten furniture, this is a very, very important metaphor to use for this. You can't go in there with a hand shovel and a hand broom and think you get the garage clean. Obviously, the rotten furniture is still there and they don't get moved by that little bit itty-bitty hand broom. You have to go into that garage with 20 Arnold Schwarzeneggers and you have to haul all of that moldy, heavy stuff that weighs thousands of pounds. You have to haul that out of there completely gut that entire garage. Get it all. Get everything out of there that is rotten and moldy, and then you have to go in there probably with a water hose and hose the floor, right? Because you don't know what might all be on that floor. And then you have to brush it with a real large broom. And then you have to broom it with a regular broom and a regular shovel. And then you can mop the floor. And then whatever else is left, then you can use a little hand shovel and hand broom. And that's a metaphor. This applies to the garage, it applies to your house, it applies to your brain, it applies to your colon, your intestines, okay? And it applies to your detoxing. You can't be having diabetes and taking medication and then taking a chelation formula thinking that will get you clean, which Paul is doing. He doesn't seem to understand it at all. Okay, so, no, you have to quit the toxins, first of all of them. You have to quit it. You can't take that anymore. You have to quit eating sugar. You have to quit eating meat. You have to quit taking anything into your body that is unhealthy. You have to quit any kind of substance that is bad for you, coffee, alcohol, anything, nicotine, anything. Then you have to start drinking herbal teas all the time. Then you have to take sodium bentonite clay every day, diatomaceous earth, and kelp seaweed. And that's how you get all that sludge completely out of your intestines. Okay. And then your body and your liver will be free from any toxin. It's a total liver relief. It's a blood purification process. Okay. Make sure you drink tons and tons of water and herbal tea all the time. All the time, non-stop. Okay, non-stop. Make sure of this. The Japanese are very good at that. They drink herbal tea like the wine taster people in the United States or in Europe. Okay. My dad's a wine. That's not healthy, being a wino. Okay, so no. But the Japanese people do it right. They know how to do it right. Their social fine tasting consists of healthy food and healthy tea, herbal tea. And that's why they live so long. That's why they're healthy. That's why they're so smart. Okay? Let's learn from them. Okay? Very, very important is that we do this right. So now, once you're healthy, then you can take also that Tony Robbins approach. You can think about, how do I live my life? What do I have to do in order to get from one point to another? You know, if I want to make money, yeah, you can wash it if you want to. You can put it in there too. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. No, don't put that there. That's for the baby dog. Okay. So you can wash that if you want to. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Thank you. So then you figure out all the very reasonable approaches to your life, to all of it, financially, everything. So if you like your job, you don't like your job, then quit the job. You know, nobody holds you there. Okay, nobody can hold you there. So if you don't like paying $3,000 or $4,000 in rent to your feudal system dictator landlord, for example, okay, and you have $10 left to buy food with for yourself, obviously that's not the right approach, right? You're a market slave if you do this, if you think that's normal or something. No, you have to change your approach. So you have to quit that apartment. There was one lady I was friends with. She did exactly that. She said, there's no way I'm going to continue paying these people that much money for this expensive apartment. Somewhere out there, I don't know, in Sacramento, or where the rent is high, or San Francisco, it's off the roof. You know. So there's no way, you know, this is not the way to live. No, you get yourself a van, you trade your car in for a van, could get a used van, you know, if that's all you can afford. I hope you can afford that. You quit your apartment, okay, then you free up that money that you get from SSI or welfare or whatever job if you like the job, or if you don't like the job, get a better job, get a different job, or you just don't have any job and you just live on your savings for a while in the van. And you find out where you want to live and where you want to work. Okay, so you move in the van. A lot of people have done this, and they're happier than ever before. Okay, even though they have much less stuff, but it's healthier for them. They don't have stress. They can sleep long. They can. Very important is to make the bed very, very comfortable in the van. The bed has to be ultra comfortable. Okay, you have very good foam rubber in there, and several layers of foam rubber, and then you can sleep well in the van and with your dog, and you can travel. You get to see places. You get to talk to people. Okay, all of these things are holistic healing approaches. Very important for you to stop what makes you unwell and start doing what makes you well. Dr. Richard Schultz always keeps repeating that. Stop doing what makes you sick and start doing what makes you well. Okay, very, very important. This is reason. Okay, and then listen to Tony Robbins, to do these steps and do these exercises for the brain and all of this. You can do NLP and all this, but don't forget. This is so nice. Oh, that's so nice. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The Blue God is in absolute total agreement with what I'm saying. Thank you, Blue God. It's true what I'm saying. So you cannot forget your emotional side. So you have to also include your emotions. You cannot neglect your emotions. You have to do reason. You have to set your life up in a good way. You have to haul the furniture, the dirty furniture out of the garage, but then you also have to disinfect the garage, as to use that metaphor. And so you get your life straightened out. You move in the van if that's what you want to do, if that's what you have to do economically, or you move into someone's house or become their housekeeper, or you change your life in a way that makes it better, where you're not a market slave anymore, or be enslaved by anyone for anything, or be in a bad relationship or something where it's toxic and you're being abused. So you have to leave that situation. You have to look out for yourself. Okay, that's basically getting the furniture out of the garage. You have to detox yourself with clay and with teas. That's getting the furniture out of the garage. And then you can go in with a plant detoxifier. So you can make tea with ivy leaves. And I actually had just leaves from oak trees fall into a retainer dish outside. That happened by itself. And it smelled so good that tea that actually became a very amazing soap, like a liquid soap. The sunlight and the heat and the water and the rain and the leaves made it into an amazing soap, very highly disinfectant. I cleaned an entire bathroom with that, so worked really, really well. I cleaned windows with that, worked extremely well. That gets everything off. It's very solvent also. The tea also works on the inside of the body. It works as a detergent, as a shampoo for the outside of the body. And to use psychology to use this as a metaphor for psychology, and that's really the last thing that I want to mention now, is you have to also not neglect your emotions. If you know that if you have some kind of problem, let's say you've already taken care of the bulk, let's use someone as an example who moved into the van. A lady was in a bad relationship, she had a bad job, paid a lot of money to the landlord and so on, and now she moved into the van Now she got away from the bad husband. She just left. He didn't want the divorce. She just said, what the heck, I'm getting out of here. Have a good one. She moves in the van. She's with her dog. Very important to bring your dog with you. You don't want to leave your dog with an abusive husband or boyfriend. Very important information, okay? Very, very important. Because a lot of psychopaths let it out on animals. When psychopaths they think they have the right to abuse someone, and when the other person leaves, they get very, very angry. So you can't be in a relationship with someone who is that mentally ill. It's impossible. Okay? I don't know if my message reaches a psychopath, because I want to also help the psychopaths too. It's just another form of mental illness. That's all it is. But those people are in an extremely high resistance towards helping, because they are driven by their egos. But if, let's say, the lady is not, and she's suffering from that husband, she is getting away. So let's say she's in the van, she got away from the abusive guy, from the abusive boss, or wherever she worked, terrible job, okay, market, enslavement, paying rent. So now she cleared that up. She got the bulk out. She got the furniture out of the garage. Now she has already relief in her life, okay. But now she still has to work on her emotions. But now she has the space to do it, okay. Now she can say, okay, now I have the space to work on my emotions. I still suffer from anxiety or jealousy or anger or whatever it is, okay. Now she can take that on, okay. That is basically coming in with the hand, shovel, and broom, or with the mop, with disinfectant, plant tea, okay. So that as a metaphor for this. Now I can work on my emotions. I got taken care of the bulk. I can take care of my emotional well-being. If you're living with someone who means well, and it's kind of like a bit of a struggle, and it's bad, you have to weigh it off. Not every boyfriend and husband is bad for you, even though it feels bad. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable, like with me, with Paul. This is very difficult often. We don't get along too well with so many things, and it's a struggle and all of that. But the overall relationship is based on love, trust, and kindness. And that's why I weigh that off, and I say, okay, this is obviously what I attracted, and this is obviously what I need in my life. And he taught me a lot also. He taught me a whole lot. Paul, you taught me a lot. You taught me a lot. And he's like a dad. He taught me a lot. Okay, and it's not easy, but we're making it work, okay, as best as we can. So, but let's take the lady in the van. So now she has the space, time, and sleep patterns. She slept long. Now she can take on the nitty-gritty of the emotional healing. That means now she can, wherever she goes now, let's say she goes to, just some kind of example now. Let's say she goes to move to a biofarm where they do composting, and she's on board with all of that, and she helps them out for some food, water, for a space for her van to sleep at night, and she becomes part of their group and community. She helps them, and she has much better life. But let's say there are emotional issues arising, and there are usually emotional issues arising in any kind of group situation, wherever that is. It could be at the center with Dr. Arthur Janov and primal therapy. We had tons of that stuff happening, jealousy, rivalry, and so on. Two guys even hit each other. Dr. Arthur Janov said, if you do that again, you get kicked out. We don't tolerate violence here. And I thought that was fantastic. And that set an example for everyone else. Or if a therapist, lets their fanatically in love patient touch them inappropriately in one of the rooms, that would be a total taboo. They would get kicked out. So he knew how detrimental that would be if my therapist Jonty had given into this kind of crush that I had on him. Okay, it would have left me totally lost, because what I was dealing with was emotional pain from the past. I have to plug the computer in. It is the battery is running out. I didn't even know the battery was running out this fast. Okay, I have to plug it in. Wait, yeah, I have to plug it in. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, I gotta plug it in. It's the battery. Yeah, no, I know, but this is so incredibly important what I'm talking about. I have to turn this on now. Okay. Yeah, the battery life is not the ultimate, and this is also kind of an older computer. So I hope the new ones are a little bit better. We need more battery life. That's important. But anyway, I plugged it in. So I'm wrapping it up now. Wrapping it up. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. So many things to talk about. So let's say she gets into a biofarm and everything's good, but then emotional stuff arises. Rivalry between women. Let's say another woman's jealous of her, or she's jealous of another woman. So terrible things can come out of it. Absolutely detrimental horror can come. So much horror can come out of this, that there was a woman in Germany who terrorized an entire family, their housekeeper, because she was in love, apparently, with the next door neighbor or something, or with someone, and that person was in love with one of the daughters from that family, a farmer family. And so she didn't deal with her emotions, that lady in Germany. Instead, she started terrorizing them. She went into some kind of crawl space in that old house and started to terrorize them with like terrible singing inside of the wall, and terrorizing them, thinking that's a ghost or something. And then she would be hiding in the end. She was hiding in the barn, and she was doing the singing there to lure these people over to see what's going on. And then one after another, she clubbed down with an axe. Okay. So, and then she piled all these people up in the corner. I mean, this is probably a little bit an extreme example of what comes out of jealousy, but these kind of things come out of jealousy if people don't address jealousy in the proper way, if nothing is being done in terms of dealing with the emotions. They can deal with all kinds of other things, but if they don't deal with the emotional stuff, with childhood trauma and so on, and their jealousy issues, then they only did half of the work. And then, in some cases, terrible things can come out of it. Murder and all kinds of stuff. Horrible, toxic environments and so on. I mean, it's just horror and misery for not just that person, but she's making it miserable for other people. So let's say, she's reincarnated and now is in this modern day, and she moved into a van. So what does she learn from her past life? Not to repeat this again, of course. So let's do it right this time. Even though the jealousy is burning, and this may even be inherited baggage, this may even be soul baggage, and so on. And then she, in so many cases, we run into just so by chance, but it's not chance, we run into someone who we have soul baggage with from past lifetimes. Stuff that wants to be resolved, but people don't resolve it properly, and then it ends up in disaster. So, but this time she recognizes this. Let's say that, but usually a few lifetimes later, that they're not advanced enough to understand any of these things if they have done something like this. So most likely that lady who asked these people down there in the barn, if she came back, then she came back as in different forms, or maybe as something that she needed to learn from, So maybe someone who is stupid, or someone who is beaten down, in order to learn from that what she has done to other people, or she comes back as an animal, or in order to learn. But a couple of lifetimes later, she is still not ready to have really great insights. Probably not. I wish they were. I wish they could have these insights. I wish they could really understand this from the bottom up, what I'm saying. That would be really amazing. But maybe she did. Maybe she did resolve so much in these other past lifetimes, since that horrible lifetime where she was a mass murderer, that she learned enough to understand now that she has to address these issues that still have. There's mountains of issues to work with. But she has to address it now the right way, and the only way, and that is through introspection, not through mocking another person, or gossiping about another person, or backstabbing another woman, or making her look bad to other people, or triangulating, or any kind of toxic social behavior. No, she knows no. This is not the path. Okay. The only path is for her to introspect and to say to herself, this is what I'm feeling right now. I'm jealous of her. And not beat herself up, but love herself unconditionally in that situation, and say, I love myself unconditionally. I am infinitely jealous of this girl. And mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the prettiest of all? The ego wants to think she is the prettiest, but sometimes that's not the case. Obviously, someone else is prettier, or whatever, more desirable, sexier, or is whatever, has more of this or that, has big ass, or boobs, or longer hair, or prettier face, or whatever that is. I need to come clean with that within myself. I'm jealous of her, okay, says the lady in the van. And then the other lady comes over and says, I see you're sad, what's going on? Then she can say to her, are you willing to hear some baggage of mine? And if she's nice, she says, of course, go let it out, cry it out. And she'll say, I'm jealous of you, but I love you. I mean, I don't want this to get in between us as friends. So then it's talked about. Then the stuff comes out. And if the other person is good with that and can deal with that and is helpful, is also introspects, then doesn't take it personally, but can say, yeah, I want to help you with this, and let's get through this together, okay? Cry it out, and no matter how long it takes, every single day. Let's sit together and you cry this out, okay? And you say it, I'm jealous of you. At the center, I would say to Jaunty, Jaunty, please love me, okay? And I wouldn't even say anything. I would just come up to him and have this sheepish look on my face, and he will say, you know what to say, Jaunty, please, he will say. And then I will fill in the rest of the sentence. And I'll say, Jaunty, please love me. And I'm going back into the primal room by myself and cry it all out. Okay, so that's the inwardness process. And I went through this for, I don't know, I had to go through this for like 8 months. I mean, you would probably think, oh, this is never going to heal, or I might just as well drown it out with this or that substance. No. You feel it for however long it takes. And I promise this to you. I promise you a rose garden, okay? If you do this, if you feel it, even if it takes a year, if my grief over my papa dog, or whatever I feel, whatever in any situation, jealousy, I will feel it for as long as it takes. It will get better. It will get better and better and better. Eventually, there are some things that will have become completely resolved. There are some grief situations that become completely. I have resolved grief over other dogs in the past. I have not resolved it for Kenny and the papa yet. It's still going on, and it's okay. Okay, as long as it takes, even if it takes for the rest of my life, that's okay. But I am better at dealing with my daily life now. I'm not suicidal now. Okay, I was very suicidal for 2 years over the dogs. That's how much I love the dogs. And then with the jealousy, this is a very deeply rooted emotion. This is a childhood trauma. Jealousy is much, much deeper rooted than grief. So that comes from your mother not giving you what you needed as an infant, then later on has a sibling for you to be jealous of, then you think the sibling is being taken care of and you don't. This is a very deeply rooted thing. And that's not something that will heal overnight. This is a lifetime journey, but it becomes better. Okay, so if the lady in the van talks to that lady she's jealous of every day, and if she's helpful with her, and they can have a session every day, buddy session as we called it at the center. We sit for each other, we just listen to the other person. Even just listening to another person seems to be an awfully difficult thing for most people to do. And so that's why almost nobody has someone who listens to them. Yeah. So if we can even do that, that's why Arjanov said to all of us there, he said, no matter how new you are here to the center, every one of you is already a better therapist than almost every therapist out there in the world who has a license and so on. And that's the truth, because we learned from him, we knew that we can even just sit for each other and listen to each other. And listen unconditionally. That's really the key. And not be judgmental or be sidetracked in your brain or be thinking about something else, but be really attentive. Jiddu Krishnamurti said, real attentiveness, real perception of someone else is love. Okay, and love heals all wounds. If the lady from the farm sits with the mentally ill lady from the van, and if she gives her unconditional attention and love, then the lady in the van can cry all of that out. This video is mega long. She can cry it all out every day for as long as it takes. And that deepens the friendship, and that deepens the trust in people. That helps people heal. Maybe this stuff even helps the other one heal. Maybe the other one will suddenly have something and suddenly realize that she was jealous of something of the other woman. And she was jealous that the other woman is bird-free and can go anywhere she wants, but she is bound to a husband. And so she suddenly realizes that she's jealous of this aspect of her, and the other one is jealous of another aspect of her, but they can help each other with this, I think I'm going to make another video tomorrow, because it's just getting way, way too long. Okay, anyway, peace and love. Take care.